She strutted into the garage, the faint click of her heels echoing off the concrete walls, each step carrying the kind of self-assured confidence that made people either admire or resent her. The air smelled faintly of motor oil, gasoline, and the tang of rust, and she wrinkled her nose ever so slightly. "Is that your car?" she asked, her tone laced with incredulity and amusement, as she let her eyes travel over the battered, rust-speckled frame of the old muscle car. The paint had dulled over the years, fading unevenly under the sun, and in several places, the metal was chipped, exposing the raw, corroded steel beneath. The tires looked like they had weathered countless miles, the tread shallow and worn, and one even seemed to sag slightly under the car's weight. She arched an eyebrow, a smirk tugging at her lips, and shook her head in disbelief, her words dripping with condescension. "You're seriously going to drive that thing?" Her laughter, sharp and unrestrained, ricocheted through the cavernous space, mingling with the soft hum of fluorescent lights overhead and the distant clatter of tools. The mechanic paused in his work, his hands still streaked with grease, his fingers smelling faintly of oil and metal. He didn't respond immediately, letting her mockery hang in the air like smoke, curling around the corners of the garage. There was a calm intensity in his eyes, a quiet confidence that contrasted sharply with her brash amusement. Without a word, he placed his rag carefully on the workbench, as if setting aside a ceremonial tool, and walked over to the driver's side of the car. He ran his hand slowly over the hood, tracing the dents and scratches with a tenderness that made her scoff even more. "Looks like it belongs in a junkyard," she said again, this time louder, leaning slightly against the frame of the garage door, as if bracing herself to watch him fail. Her voice carried the certainty of someone convinced they were right, someone who had never been wrong in their judgments about people, places, or machines. The mechanic crouched for a moment, examining the tires and the uneven gaps of the doors, and then straightened with a small, almost imperceptible smile. There was something in the way he held himself, a quiet pride that didn't need validation, that made her smirk falter for just a fraction of a second. He slid into the driver's seat with a deliberate slowness, shutting the door with a satisfying thud that reverberated through the floor. He rested his hands on the worn steering wheel, and she could see the calluses, the tiny scars of years spent laboring, shaping, and understanding machines the way others might understand books or art. He didn't glance at her, didn't offer an explanation or apology for the car's appearance, he simply turned the key in the ignition. At first, the engine responded with a low, almost hesitant rumble, as if testing its own strength, and she laughed again, soft and mocking, thinking it might sputter and die. But then the growl grew, deeper and more powerful, echoing through the garage with a resonance that seemed to shake the very walls. Her laughter caught in her throat, a hitch of surprise interrupting it, and she took a step back, eyes wide. The vibrations hummed through the floor beneath her feet, reaching her chest, her arms, even her fingertips, as if the car itself were alive and asserting its presence. She had expected weakness, decrepitude, failure, but instead, she was faced with a raw, unrefined power that demanded acknowledgement, that ignored her mockery entirely and existed on its own terms. The mechanic's calm demeanor contrasted sharply with the ferocity of the engine, a living contradiction that made her pause, making her reassess not just the car, but the man who commanded it with such ease and certainty. He pressed the clutch and shifted into first gear with a smoothness that belied the car's battered exterior, and the moment the tires gripped the concrete, the garage seemed to transform. The engine roared like a beast awakened from slumber, deep and throaty, a vibration that rolled under her feet and up her spine, making her instinctively step back. She had come expecting a sputtering, wheezing relic, but instead, the car seemed to growl with pride, asserting itself with a confidence that mirrored the quiet strength of the mechanic behind the wheel. Smoke curled faintly from the exhaust, thin wisps of blue that caught the light and twisted into the air like ribbons of defiance. Her eyes widened involuntarily, and for the first time, the smirk that had perched so confidently on her lips faltered, replaced by a sharp, almost breathless surprise. The tires screeched softly as he eased the car forward, a controlled, purposeful movement that spoke of someone intimately familiar with every curve of the engine, every tremor of the rusted frame, every nuance of power hidden beneath layers of chipped paint. She could hear the metallic heartbeat of pistons pumping in perfect rhythm, the exhaust note vibrating a symphony of force and precision. It wasn't just a machine, it was a statement, a manifesto written in steel, oil, and sheer mechanical genius. She felt a knot of awe and disbelief forming in her chest, her previous laughter already dissolving into silence as she took an involuntary step closer, drawn in by the magnetism of power that needed no adornment. The mechanic's eyes met hers for a fleeting moment, calm and unwavering, and she realized then that this man had poured not just skill but soul into this car. Every dent, every scratch, every rusted patch was not a flaw but a testament to endurance, to battles fought and victories won over time. She had mocked what she thought was weakness, but in truth, she was staring at resilience incarnate, a strength that didn't demand recognition but forced it nonetheless. Her pulse quickened as the car's vibrations rippled through the floor and into her feet, her hands gripping the edge of a workbench to steady herself. She had never anticipated feeling small in front of a vehicle, and yet here she was, humbled, astonished, and for the first time, aware that appearances could lie in ways she had never fully grasped. As he revved the engine, the sound swelling into a crescendo that filled the garage, she found herself holding her breath, caught between disbelief and an unexpected thrill. The muscle car, once a symbol of ridicule in her mind, had transformed into an almost mythical creature, alive and commanding, and she knew without words that she had underestimated the man who had breathed life into it. Each gear shift, each growl of the engine, resonated in her chest, a silent assertion that strength could exist where least expected, that mastery and dedication often hid behind unassuming exteriors, and that she had stepped into a world far more formidable than she had imagined. The mechanic eased the car to a slow, deliberate stop, the engine's low purr still vibrating through the metal and the concrete beneath them. He climbed out with effortless grace, wiping a bead of sweat from his brow with a rag, his movements calm and unhurried as if nothing extraordinary had just occurred. She stood frozen, her arms crossed instinctively, yet her mind was racing, trying to reconcile the image of the battered, rusty vehicle she had mocked with the raw, undeniable power she had just witnessed. She had always judged by appearances, by shine and polish, and in that moment, she realized the foolishness of her assumptions. The car, like the man behind it, had depths she had never anticipated. He leaned against the hood casually, eyes meeting hers with a quiet confidence that carried no arrogance, just certainty. "It's not the paint or the dents," he said softly, almost teasingly, his voice steady and calm, "it's what's under the hood that counts." She blinked, the words echoing in her mind, each one cutting through the layers of judgment she had unconsciously piled upon him. He wasn't just a mechanic, he was a craftsman, a man who understood machines the way an artist understands canvas and brush, the way a composer understands notes and silence. Her chest tightened with a mix of embarrassment and awe, the hum of the engine still vibrating faintly in the air around them. For the first time, she felt small, not physically, but in the realm of perception, confronted with someone whose skill, patience, and dedication dwarfed her initial assumptions. She had walked in expecting humor, an easy target for her scorn, but what she had encountered was mastery, unpolished yet brilliant, raw yet controlled. Each detail of the car's performance, each growl and shudder of the engine, was a testament to his understanding of mechanics and the dedication he had poured into every inch of it. She found herself involuntarily studying his face, noting the calm steadiness in his eyes, the quiet pride that did not seek approval, and the subtle smile that spoke of satisfaction at a job well done, a challenge met and conquered. The garage, once a background she had barely noticed, now felt alive with energy, charged with the aura of the machine and the man who commanded it. The rust and dents no longer seemed like imperfections but symbols of resilience and endurance, proof of a journey marked by persistence and skill. She realized that she had underestimated the value of substance over surface, that true power and craftsmanship could hide behind a humble exterior, and that she had been blind to it until now. Each lingering vibration from the engine seemed to reinforce the lesson, a silent, pulsing assertion that what mattered most was unseen, measured not in appearances but in knowledge, patience, and the unyielding force of dedication. As he finally killed the engine, the garage fell into a heavy, almost reverent silence, the lingering vibrations fading but leaving an undeniable charge in the air. She stepped closer, her eyes involuntarily drawn to the rusted hood, the chipped paint, the imperfections she had so confidently mocked just minutes ago. Yet in the sunlight streaming through the high windows, the car seemed to shimmer, each flaw catching the light in a way that made it almost glow, transforming its battered exterior into a canvas of history, endurance, and hidden strength. She felt a strange mixture of awe and humility, realizing that she had judged too quickly, that she had failed to see the heart beating within the steel. He leaned against the side of the car, wiping his hands and giving her a look that was neither proud nor smug, just calm and steady, as if acknowledging the lesson she had just learned without needing to announce it. She wanted to speak, to recover some of her composure, but the words faltered in her throat. There was an unspoken understanding now, a quiet respect forming in the space between them. She had mocked him, underestimated him, assumed weakness where there was strength, and now she was confronted with the truth that appearances could be deceiving, that mastery and dedication often hid behind modest exteriors, and that raw power, whether in man or machine, demanded recognition in its own way. She traced her gaze along the contours of the car, noting how the sunlight danced over the imperfections, how the dents and scratches told a story of battles fought and survived, miles traveled and challenges overcome. Each detail spoke of resilience and determination, qualities she had never associated with the rusted relic she had dismissed so easily. Her chest tightened as she absorbed the scene, her previous amusement replaced by a quiet reverence. The roar of the engine still echoed faintly in her mind, a reminder of the force and precision that had lain hidden beneath the surface, waiting for someone to see its truth. As he straightened and offered a subtle nod, she realized that this was more than a car. It was a reflection of him, a testament to skill, patience, and passion that could not be judged by looks alone. Her world, once so certain in its superficial judgments, felt suddenly smaller, humbled by the presence of something so unexpectedly powerful. She had entered the garage confident, mocking, and unconcerned with the man or the machine, but now she was left speechless, confronted with a reality that demanded she rethink her assumptions, respect his expertise, and acknowledge that she had underestimated both the car and the man who had tamed it.